Hi, this is Sean Fenske, Editor-in-Chief of Medical Product Outsourcing, back once again with Alan Grau, VP of Embedded and IoT at Sectigo. How you doing today, Alan?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thanks.
So we've been talking about cybersecurity, talking about hacking, talking about the plausibility of it happening, some previous hacks. Now we want to look ahead and kind of talk about what could potentially happen, where the issues for future medical device hacks. So, Alan, what are your thoughts on the future of medical device hacking?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's really interesting to think about. I mean, some of the things that we may have thought of as science fiction 10 years ago, we're starting to see. I know we talked previously about implantable devices being hacked. And 10 years ago that seemed completely like science fiction, and yet we've seen at least lab examples of that, if not examples in the field. But as we look forward, I think there are a number of things that are going to happen. We've seen, I don't know that we've seen it against medical devices, but I've actually seen a couple of reports of people using drones with to carry like a small small computer on it that has hacking tools on it with Wi-Fi to carry out remote attacks or attacks against a target that they couldn't get to. They required proximity. So you start to think about that. That's actually a fairly scary proposition. So if you've got things like windmill farms or other remote utilities, it's not specifically a medical attack, but it certainly could be. But that you think you've got some protection because of the location of it. Well, that may not be as true as you thought it was. So that's certainly one avenue that could come into play. Another big issue that we're seeing in cybersecurity, really across all markets and all verticals, is the advances in quantum computing and the ability for quantum computers to attack the crypto systems that are really underlying security kind of across the board, and specifically the PKI systems. Quantum computing has some very unique capabilities in solving certain mathematical problems, and the mathematics that make RSA and ECC encryption extremely difficult to break with traditional computers. That suddenly becomes a very easy thing to break with quantum computers. So that's another area where people are going to have to move away from the existing ECC and RSA encryption to new encryption algorithms that are being developed and being standardized today. So those are a couple of areas of concern.
There's I've seen with the cryptocurrency they use a technology called blockchain. I've heard some people say that this could be used within the medical device space. I don't know if you're familiar with blockchain technology, but are there ways that would prevent future hacking attacks or anything like that?
Yeah, so no, blockchain is a really interesting technology, and it solves certain problems very, very well. It's not a universal solution for all cybersecurity issues or concerns. But what blockchain is really good at is storing information in a way that can't be tampered with. It's the core technology of the blockchain itself is creating what's called a distributed ledger. And so a ledger is basically just a recording of entries of data. So if you think to bank records, right? You've got a ledger of all the bank transactions. It used to be a ledger book. It eventually got moved into computing systems. Those entries could be stored on a blockchain. So where that would play out in the medical field is that'd be a great way to store medical records in a way that couldn't be tampered with, or to store other information in a way that's very difficult to tamper with it. What blockchain doesn't necessarily immediately solve is the ability to keep that data from being discovered. The core strength of blockchain is to have a public ledger that can't be tampered with. But you can add layers of security onto it to enable privacy, so that you can keep it from being tampered with, and also ensure proper authorization of who's reading the data. So I do think there is a role for blockchain in security in the medical space. but I don't see it as a silver bullet that will solve all of our problems.
Right. And are there things that medical device manufacturers could be doing right now to address, maybe perhaps not a concern that they have right now, but what are some of the things they can perhaps put into their devices now that would perhaps address future issues?
Yeah, well, and I think in many cases, I think they haven't solved all the current issues yet. But I mean, a lot of it's just cybersecurity fundamentals. Ensuring that you've got secure key storage on your device so that the private keys can't be discovered. Ensuring that you can securely update the firmware and software on the device. Ensuring that you have something like a secure boot technology so that each time the device boots up, you can validate that the firmware hasn't been tampered with. So I think a lot of those are really critical. Having a secure software update mechanism and an ability to have some sort of crypto agility so that you can update the firmware for future threats, right? So if a vulnerability is discovered in the future, you can address it. And again, as quantum computing becomes more of a true threat or an immediate threat, so that you can update your crypto algorithms as well, as these new crypto algorithms are standardized.
Great. Well, for more on the development and manufacture of medical devices, please visit mpomag.com. But until next time, this has been Sean Fenske, Editor-in-Chief of Medical Product Outsourcing, speaking with Alan Grau, VP of Embedded and IoT at Sectigo. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, John.